everybody, it's Lily of LadyDayOasis.com. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. So today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in my life. It's a little crazy. I just got out of my car after driving for 5 hours to Davenport, Iowa. I am in town for some work training, which yay me, I'm excited about. But the thing is, when I got here, well actually probably 3 hours into the drive, I realized I forgot a very important thing at home in Murfreesboro. So this week's tutorial is going to be really interesting. I left my foundation, my flathead foundation brush, my contouring brush. I left my eyebrow pencils and eyebrow setting gel. I left my foundation and my powders that I use to set my foundation, as well as my concealer. Yay! I'm so freaking happy. I am very blessed to have made it here safely and gotten to my hotel, and it's really nice. So I don't want to complain, and thank God there was a Walgreens right down the street. So I am a little concerned though, because Davenport, I'm right on the river and it's beautiful, but it is so humid, like crazy humid. And so I'm really used to very good products that I can put on my extremely oily skin, and sometimes I still get a little shine, but not to the point where it's unbearable and I can't take it and I have to like wash my face. So I'm a little nervous about tomorrow meeting these very important people in my company and not wearing good quality makeup. And I take that, I don't want to say that the products that I purchased from Walgreens isn't good quality. It's just not the quality of makeup that I'm used to and my skin is used to, so I'm a little tiny bit nervous about it. But lucky for you guys, you get to see me create a look using some pretty basic cosmetics, so yay for you. Okay, hi everybody. It is very early in the morning. I'm getting ready for work here in Davenport, Iowa. I am going to show you which products that I purchased from the Walgreens down the streets in hopes of creating a look that will last and keep my skin matte, as well as look really good and natural like my other products always do. So the first thing I knew that I would need is a primer. This is the Stay Matte Primer by Rimmel London. I obviously would need a foundation. This is the Fit Me foundation in 3030 Toffe Caramel. It is a matte poreless foundation, and I am very excited to use it. We'll see how that works out. I also bought a airbrush by Maybelline. It's the Dream Liquid Mousse Airbrush Finish and the Cocao Dark 3. I knew that I would need something to contour and help bring some definition back into my face. So I got it a little bit darker than normal. Usually I use a powder for that, but I couldn't find a powder that was dark enough for my skin at this particular Walgreens. I'm also going to be using the Maybelline Master Conceal by FaceStudio concealer. We'll see how well that covers these guys. And I will be using a Maybelline brow pencil to fill in my brows as well. Now I do have my flathead brush that I normally use, so I'll apply the concealer to highlight my brows using this brush. As far as putting on the liquid foundation, and oh wait, one last thing. I got some finishing powder by Wet n Wild, just because I started to see that the bill was kind of starting to get high and I needed to keep my cash. So I got it, the Wet n Wild. I'm going to give it a try, see how it works. If it doesn't work, then I can see if I can return them, but I don't know that I'll be able to. If not, I can use it for Abby. So I'm also just going to be using a wedge to particularly around my eyes, and because I'm really nervous about this concealer caking up, especially since I don't have a what I feel is a good quality finishing powder. So, and I do not have a finishing spray, so I am going to try to put this on as light as possible, but still get the same coverage. To do that, I am going to be using just a Wet n Wild foundation brush. The brushes at the Walgreens were so stinking expensive, and knowing that I got great brushes at home, I just could not bring myself to buy another set just for this trip. So we'll see how this works. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my nice new primer. So what I really liked about this primer is that it really, although it felt really creamy going on, it was very matte. I really, really liked that. So the next thing that I did was put on my concealer. Concealer was very thin. I really liked it for that purpose. But in comparison to my Mary Kay under eye concealer, I like my Mary Kay under eye concealer a little bit better. I didn't need as much moisturizer when using this particular primer by Maybelline, but it did not cover as well as my my regular concealer that I use. And it seemed like I had to use a lot of it to get the coverage that I wanted. So this eyebrow pencil is an epic fail. It was so stinking soft, and it just smeared. I didn't like it at all. But, life goes on. So the concealer worked pretty good as highlighter, and so it made my brows look a lot better. And then I just set it with my Revlon charcoal color shadow. Honestly, the Fit Me foundation was very, very, very thin, and I had to blend it a little bit with the darker foundation by Maybelline just to get the right color. It went on pretty smoothly, but because it was so thin to get the coverage that I wanted and the blending that I wanted, I had to use a lot of product on my face, which I'm not used to at all. And it took forever to blend with this Wet n Wild brush. Now, obviously, can't blame Wet n Wild for that because the brush is not a foundation brush particularly. It is a powder brush that I had to use as a foundation brush, but still, I used a ton of foundation on my face, which is not necessary. The next thing I did was I went ahead and started to contour my face with the Maybelline darker foundation. And this foundation I actually really, really, really liked. It went on super, super smooth, and it didn't take a ton of it to get what I wanted out of it. However, it took more than my normal brush that I use. And then the blending, again, took forever. It seemed like I was blending for an hour, and I'm sure it looks like I've been blending for an hour on the video. But to get the look that I wanted and to really mimic what I normally look like with my regular foundation, it just took a lot more effort. The setting powder was okay. It was kind of very clumpy almost when it was picked up. It wasn't as light and powdery as I expected it to be. But again, I really did like the concealer. I did have to apply more of it to get the look that I wanted. So basically what it comes down to is it seems like I use a lot more product for these particular products than I do in comparison to my favorite Mary Kay stuff. So then I went ahead and just applied my makeup as normal, as far as like the eyes, which turned out to look great because I did actually have some of my color cosmetics with me.
But at the end, it turned out great, and I did like it. But towards the end of the day, my brows were kind of sweating out. The foundation didn't look terrible, but it did start to look a little pasty almost because I had to use so much of it. But overall, I think it did well. Thanks for watching, guys.